This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your source for the latest Iowa ag news headlines right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, Mark Magnuson, and Andy Peterson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark.
Hello and welcome into Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Friday, February 7th, 2025, and we're so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, I will be joined by Sam Trainor of agmarket.net for our closing markets. But first, it is time for my conversation with Grant Kimberley of the Iowa Soybean Association. Had the chance to speak with Grant at the Farm Forward event from ISA this week.
Mark Magnuson for the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and I'm joined today by Grant Kimberley. We are at Farm Forward, which is being held at Hotel Fort Des Moines in downtown Des Moines. And Grant joining me today for Between the Pods. He is the Senior Director of Market Development, and Grant also an individual producer as well. He farms as well. And Grant, today we wanted to just talk about the big picture of trade and what it looks like right now for soybeans. So let's start there. Where are we? Are we on good setting or good footing right now? Could we be better? Where are we looking at right now when it comes to trade overall?
Well, of course, from the soybean industry perspective, we export over half of our soybean production every single year. So trade is critically important for us in our sector. And for this year, we were trending better than we had been previously, than the previous year or two. So we were looking very strong. Now we have a lot of uncertainty ahead of us now, and we also have a very big South American soybean crop coming online here very shortly, and that could change things. And so we're going to have to wait and see how the full marketing year shapes out. But we are trending in a positive way leading up until this winter.
So Grant, in your role in this job at Iowa Soybean Association, does it feel like you always have to be working to continue to push this ball forward? Because again, it comes back to growing these markets and making sure you're helping out the individual farmer here in the state of Iowa. Does it always feel like you're kind of on the leading edge of things?
Yeah, I had some senior level folks early in my career always tell me that the job of a marketer, the job of a trader, of an exporter, and a market promoter is never finished. You're always working that issue because you have new people to deal with all the time, people changing jobs, new people coming up into the system, people getting promotions, and we have to build those strategic relationships because in the end of the day, trade is about relationships, and we found that out over the many years of promoting U.S. soybeans and Iowa soybean products.
So how does Iowa Soybean Association fit into the puzzle when you think of it from the big picture view? Is it about going on these trade mission trips? Is it about just getting the word out for individual producers in this state of Iowa, what they need in terms of what they need to do to grow soybeans? What is that overall kind of piece of the puzzle that Iowa Soybean helps to fill?
Yeah, Iowa Soybean Association plays a major role, a leadership role, quite frankly, in helping with our entire soy industry sector. Of course, we work through our industry partners and our national associations like the American Soybean Association, the United Soybean Board, and the U.S. Soybean Export Council. We are members of all of those, and all of our state partners are also members, and we work together, provide the funding to work in over 82 countries around the world to promote the value, the benefits, the reliability, the high quality of U.S. soybeans and soybean products. And so Iowa Soybean has a major role to play, providing the funding, providing the leadership. We participate in the trade missions, but also its studies, its feed research trials, its market access work. All those things play into it. It's a multifaceted approach.
And you really see the power and the influence as well of the Iowa Soybean Association in those national organizations, thinking about how many people are in dual roles as well for, not only the ISA, but at those national level as well.
Yeah, Iowa Soybean Association and the Iowa soy sector is one of the largest producers in the U.S., of course, and we're always looked at as a leader. We're looked at that in Washington, D.C. with our congressional leadership delegations. We're looked at that way with our farmer leaders who serve at the national levels. When we go overseas, a lot of the buyers, they want to know what Iowa and Illinois, who are the leading industry folks, are doing, what we're thinking. They want to understand more about our products, and so we're always looked at as being those leaders, and so we have to take that leadership role and represent the industry.
And Grant, here today, Farm Forward being held at Hotel Fort Des Moines, kind of looking at the challenges and opportunities for Iowa soybean growers. And right now, it's a critical time when it comes to what we're seeing in Washington, D.C. with the new administration when it comes to tariffs. But it is a little bit difficult. We're here February 3rd right now talking today. I mean, this is moving second by second, literally minute by minute. But when you think about the overall message that we've heard about tariffs right now and kind of what the playing field looks like, what does it mean for the Iowa soybean farmer?
You know, we knew this going in that there are trade imbalances. There's different sectors of the U.S. economy who have maybe struggled with some of the different international trade rules and regulations. Not every free trade agreement has been as positive as others, but you know, from by and large, from an agriculture standpoint, free trade has seen a growth of additional exports. But we realize that they can be better, and so you know, we're talking about there's negotiations occurring, and our hope is that with talk of these tariffs and the various countries that we're working with, that better leverage can be used to move us forward when it comes to better trade agreements, better market access, so we can increase our soybean exports to other parts of the world, because there are parts of the world that we don't always have the access that we need. And so we're hopeful that you know, no matter where this all ends up, there's going to be a lot of changes, I think, every single day, but we're hopeful that there's a net positive that we get better agreements down the road.
So what should the Iowa soybean producer be thinking about right now? They know the landscape a little bit unsettled, but thinking about those factors that are going to influence them in the coming months, what should they already be thinking about going forward?
Oh, you know, as a farmer, I'm always thinking about our next crop season. You know, we're making our detailed decisions about what we're going to plant and our acreage mix. We're looking at the prices and the markets, of course. But then from a marketing standpoint, as we're putting together a marketing plan for the next year, you've got to look at the global geopolitical standpoint, and there is a lot of risk out there. So I would certainly say manage your risk. We have to put that in place. We don't know where all this is going to go here in the short term or the long term, but we're hopeful that we can see better markets in the future. So you need to put, you know, look at opportunities when you know your cost of production, make your sales, and look forward to, you never go broke making a profit. If you can know your costs and you can make a profit, make some sales, but then also leave some potential for some upside appreciation. You just never know. But things could go a little lower, they could go a little higher depending on where all these deals go. So you're going to just have to manage your risk. Crop insurance is going to be another piece of that that's very important. And so as a farmer, we have to take all those things into consideration when you're developing your marketing plan.
And Grant, when we think about that big picture when it comes to trade and going back to the tariffs and the potential implementation there as well, how much of a benefit is it at the end of the day that we know that people are in search of, are seeking out, I should say, Iowa soybeans, United States soybeans, because of their quality? At the end of the day, they have that quality to back them up. So yes, if there's these tariff restrictions, things that come into place, that's a big ball in the corner for the United States, isn't it? The fact that we have such great quality.
It is. You know, I've been on several trade missions over the years, and just came back from one in the Philippines here right before the new year, and that's a market that recognizes and is willing to pay a premium for U.S. soybean meal because they recognize that quality, and there's other markets like that around the world. And so we're going to continue to develop those markets. There's new opportunities in parts of Latin America, the North Africa, the Middle East, all those areas. We're going to continue to diversify our markets. China is going to continue to be a big market, but we're going to have to also diversify into other areas. And that's what we continue to do as a U.S. soy industry, and work hard to develop those markets and diversify all around the world.
So Grant, just to wrap up here today, yes, the current landscape, we're dealing with a lot of uncertainty, still a lot of questions in the air when it comes to trade, but the Iowa Soybean Association still doing everything it can for the Iowa farmer to help grow these markets and continue to market Iowa soybeans to the world.
Yeah, international trade is our number one market development priority for the Iowa Soybean Association and the soy industry. And for every dollar spent in the U.S. From the soybean checkoff in international trade, we get an over $14 return on that on every dollar spent. So we know that it does make a difference. We leverage that with some federal dollars and work with the industry as well to enhance our reputation around the world and to visit these customers, understand what their needs are, and to also demonstrate, you know, the high quality products that we grow here. And those relationships, as I said earlier, those are the key factors, and just making sure that we continue to keep those lines of communication open.
He is Grant Kimberley with the Iowa Soybean Association, my guest for Between the Pods. Grant, thanks so much for the time here today. Always appreciate it. Have a great rest of the Farm Forward Conference.
Thank you.
Thank you to Grant Kimberley of the Iowa Soybean Association for joining today's show. Up next, it is the closing markets with Sam Trainor of agmarket.net. But first, we will get a word from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soybean Checkoff.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
You're watching Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and I'm joined now by Sam Trainor of agmarket.net for our closing markets. Sam, what did we see happen in the grain trade here today?
We had a little bit of a pullback here today to end the week. Corn futures were down anywhere from 4 to 7 cents, beans down about 8 to 12, and wheat was down about 5 to 6 cents.
And Sam, you mentioned the wheat there at the end. I know wheat has been a factor in the ag marketplace this week. What have you kind of seen happening with those markets?
Yeah, so wheat has kind of been the last soldier kind of hanging back. You know, corn's been on quite the run here recently. Soybeans have followed suit and ran up higher, whereas wheat's kind of just been hanging out down here at the lower end of its range. But with the everybody knows the Russian crop isn't great, and looks like it's not getting any better here. And you know, with the managed money position still being short in wheat, meanwhile they're nearly record long in corn and very long in soybeans as well, or building that position. A lot of folks are starting to think that maybe wheat will be the next one to jump on board. So that's a market that we've kind of been keeping our eye on. You know, yesterday they really supported corn prices. They were up 16 to 17 cents there, helped pull corn and beans higher near the end of the session. So it's definitely something that we're going to keep watching and see if that's a market that can turn around, similar to what corn and beans have been able to do here recently.
Sam, have you started to look ahead at all to the next crop report and what we might be kind of encountering when we get ready to see that next week?
Yeah, absolutely. Been going over some of our estimates there. You know, the Safras Group came out this morning and raised their estimate for Brazil soybean production. They're sitting at 174.8 now, compared to, I believe it was 173.7 in their previous estimate. So they're looking for big crops to get bigger. We all know Brazil's been very good this year as far as weather's concerned, and a lot of people are anticipating that crop to do well. And here at Ag Market, we're looking for a slight improvement. Last month in January, the USDA was at 169 million metric tons. We're anticipating a 170 this month, so that's kind of what we'll be looking for. As far as Argentina, it's kind of the other side of the story. You know, they've been dry. Right now, the USDA is sitting at 52 million metric tons on their soybean crop. We think that they could come down as much as 49. So you see a reduction there. That would bring world ending stocks down to about 125.4 million metric tons, and you know that could give these markets a spark, especially on the soybeans, to continue higher on this rally that we've been seeing.
And let's wrap up today with the other side of the ag marketplace, the livestock complex. How did we finish today in the cattle and hogs?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of livestock producers will be happy to hear that today was just a quiet trading day. You know, we've had a pretty volatile trading week this week, especially yesterday. We were down very sharply on some bird flu news. There's a new strain going through and affecting lots of poultry flocks, but it did get into a Nevada dairy herd, and that headline really sent the cattle markets down on a tumble yesterday. You know, that's no secret that the managed money position in the cattle has been record long for quite some time now, and it felt like yesterday they were just kind of jumping ship there and lightening their position a little bit on maybe some fears on those sorts of headlines. But today they were able to stabilize and finish near unchanged on both the fats and feeders.
Sam Trainor of agmarket.net, my guest here today. Sam, what's the best way for our viewers to get in touch for more marketing information?
Best way would be to visit our website, agmarket.net, or give us a call here at normal 1-800-779-1515.
Thanks so much for the time here, Sam. Appreciate it, and have a great weekend.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you to Sam Trainor of agmarket.net for joining for our closing markets here today. Let's take a look at how the numbers finished here in the markets, and you can find those numbers anytime under the Markets tab of our website at iowaagnet.com.
March corn closes down 7 3/4 at 487.5. March soybeans down 11 cents at 1049.5. March soybean meal down $5 at 301.40. March soybean oil up 58 cents at 45.98. Chicago wheat down 5 cents at 582 3/4. Minneapolis wheat down 3/4 cent at 627 3/4. Kansas City hard red wheat down 3 1/4 at 604 1/4. March oats down 13 3/4 at 350 1/4. On the Merc, February live cattle up 15 cents at $200.77. March feeder cattle down 40 cents at $264.90. April lean hogs up 40 cents at $92.15. April pork cutout unchanged at $93.97. Class 3 milk down 26 cents at $20.11.
That does it for our closing markets for Friday, and that brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can follow us on social media at Facebook, X, and LinkedIn. You can listen to our morning, midday, and closing market podcast, as well as episodes of our Iowa Ag Matters podcast, wherever you find your favorite podcast, at Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and Podbean. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. For Riley Smith, Dustin Huffman, and Andy Peterson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.